doing today is we're here at an event produced by ACE, the Alliance for a Creative Economy. And what it is a regional body that has gotten together to try and coordinate and promote people who are in the creative economy, which could be a gaming programmer, it could be a videographer, it could be an architect, it could be a graphic designer, an event producer, and specifically people who are freelancers, because there are over 13,000 freelancers who are in the creative economy in our region, or people who are in jobs that are related to the creative economy.
I'm lucky in that I get to pursue my passion. I teach, I have my own company, I'm an artist as well, so to be able to blend all of those things together is, it's really a wonderful privilege to be able to do all that stuff. When you're working for yourself, it's a fun ride, and I'm glad to be able to do it. I provide creative consulting services, so digital strategy, web development, video production, multimedia. This is my passion, so to be able to work in the field, to be able to work in the arts, to be able to work as an entrepreneur, to be able to teach and to share that with my students and inspire them, that's great. I think it's interesting over the years. I've seen a lot of my friends and colleagues really blossom in their careers, and that's really exciting, and it's very energizing to me. So I think there's a lot of like-minded people around doing some great things, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
The creative economy, as I understand it, it's a challenge to keep everything going and still get to do the work that you're actually wanting to do freelance. You have to manage yourself as a business person as well as do the actual work. I wish that it was always perfect, but it's not. There's always going to be some difficulty in making that balance happen in your life, especially with children, kids, family. I've never had a full-time job. I've never had a boss other than myself. So what I love doesn't become a job in a sense. That does become a work, a chore. I go to work and I look forward to doing what I do, and that's a big bonus for me.
I jump out of bed every morning and can barely fall asleep at night because I love what I'm doing so much and feel so lucky to be doing it. It feels great, particularly working in a city like Troy, where it seems like we have a lot of momentum going right now, and we are working collectively in that creative economy. We're looking to launch an all-day cafe called Little Pecs, and part of the idea behind Little Pecs is that people who are part of this creative economy will be able to spend some of their day working in that space, hold meetings in that space, grab lunch, pull out their computer, do their work in a public space where others will potentially be doing the same thing.
I basically have been working in architecture for the last 5 years at a company in Schenectady called Reform Architecture. It was a really unique opportunity because I was able to integrate into the redevelopment of the downtown of the city, and it's a small office. We were really able to do a project from design through construction and get an understanding about different levels of design. For me, it's about lifestyle. I'm also a percussionist. I play with an Afro-Cuban ensemble. It's called Ensemble Congueros, and I think for me, I've always just been interested to kind of keep local strength and empower people around me, and I think that's what sort of drives me. So anytime I can integrate people with other interests that can change my perspective, I think that's successful, and the fact that we're building these creative fields in our region is really opportunistic.
I think that I'm not dissimilar from a lot of people in this room in that I have a lot of different roles in this world. One of them is as the director of a gallery, a small gallery in Saratoga Springs. It's also a project that we run called Saratoga Arts Fest. I'm the executive producer of that. And I'm also on the creative economy panel that started this whole movement to start to talk about how big is this creative economy. And what we stumbled upon when we were doing the creative economy project is a number that I just couldn't let go of. It showed that there were 13,000 creative freelancers in the capital region. That is a huge number. So that the 130 people that are here making all this noise today are just 1% of all the people who are doing this in this region. All the national numbers show that this is a trend that's only growing across the country. So we know it's growing here. And everybody out in this room that I've even talked to since I arrived says, I have one gig and another gig. We're all working a ton of gigs. And this is how we put it together, and that's how creative freelancers do it. There's just been a need for some glue in this area, and that's what we're starting to talk about. How do we all connect, talk about what we do, and I think people are happy to be talking about that now.
I feel very strongly about the power of creative people, and not to get all serious, but when I look around the world and I see the problems that we have even in our region, in our country, I realize one of the one of the groups of people who are not at the table a lot are the creatives, and frankly, those are the problem solvers in our society. And I think we have a lot to give, and I think we have a lot to say, and I think that we need to find ways to be able to collectively get together so that we can be a part of a solution instead of just being these independent little points of light everywhere.
Being a part of it is much different. I feel like everyone has their part that they add to it. I bring the food element, one element of the food, so I'm just trying to add to the culture in any way for the bigger picture. I feel like this is the first and last life we get. There's no do-overs, so I might as well spend it being happy. And if I could be happy with something like this, I'm going to continue to do it. I think it's great. I think it's wide open. I think there's also room for significant opportunity from the both seeking and also looking to do the work as well. I think both sides can grow. I think it's just going to continue to grow over the next few years.
The Foundry for Art, Design, and Culture, we're a creative and cultural services firm. Under the creative services, we do branding, print, web design, videography, social media management. I've had the privilege of working for myself for the past 20 years, off and on, in some capacity. The opportunity to do the work that I love, that really just excites me personally, that's highly creative, but is also meant to better the world, help people communicate better. Holding on to that, it's really vital. And especially now that I've been doing it for so long, it's become even more important. Having gone back and worked for other people, I just don't want to do that anymore. I really want the freedom to work for myself and pick and choose my clients and the type of work that really resonates to my personal philosophies and our core philosophies within the Foundry. And so it's very important to us.
One of the things that you find here and that I felt tonight is this idea of reciprocity that's really important in the creative economy, and that, you know, the give and take and the helping of colleagues and other people who are doing the work that they want to do. And that's how we really shine.
My outlook is one of wariness and a little bit of confusion, but I think that it could be very successful as long as I take the appropriate steps and make sure I still have fun when I do it. I hope that it will blossom into a business that's sustainable and will make money for me. At the same time, have it still be fun and a passion, because I have a passion for it and I enjoy doing it. So it's tricky, so I've got to find a nice balance in there.
Tonight, so far, I see a lot of new faces, and that's always very, very exciting. And I think that that's something that I always look forward to, seeing the same faces, but also seeing new faces. And I see a lot of new faces tonight.
We have people of all ages here. We have people of all interests and are working in all genres, and we just haven't met them yet. The interest has been phenomenal just on our very first try, but this is just us getting started. This is our very first try, and it's really turned out like gangbusters.
What I'm specifically interested in and excited about in our particular region right now is something that I see coalescing around many arts institutions. Tonight we're at an event that involves people from Proctor's, WMHT, my company, 2440 Design Studio, the Nordsley Institution, Spring Street Gallery out of Saratoga, all converging, coming together to create a moment together that synergizes us all together. So I see that beginning to happen more and more in our region. Rather than being siloed, I see institutions beginning to collaboratively clasp shoulders and move forward to create bigger outcomes for our region. And that means dollars for our region, and that means quality of life. And who wouldn't want that?